Price of new cars has hit a milestone.
What's driving car prices higher?
What are you hearing from consumers when they come in here?
Prices too high. Car prices seem to have been rising ever since COVID, and there's no turning back on that.
$20,000. That is the line between a smart financial decision and a money pit disguised as a deal. Meet Carlos. He bought a 2019 Honda CR-V in 2024 for $19,500. Clean title. Decent miles. Felt like a win. 2 years later, he still drives it every single day. No major repairs, no surprises. And when he checked its current value last month, it had only dropped $2,100 in 2 years on a used car. Carlos didn't get lucky. He bought smart. But his coworker Dana? She spent $18,800 on a 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross the same week. Same budget, same goal, completely different outcome. 3 repair bills in 18 months, a resale value that fell off a cliff, and a monthly insurance cost that quietly bled her dry. Same $20,000. 2 completely different financial realities. Here's what nobody tells you when you're standing on a used car lot, checkbook in hand, trying to figure out which car is actually worth your money. Most used car advice ranks vehicles by what's popular, what looks good, or what the salesperson needs to move this weekend. This list does something different. We ranked the 10 best used cars under $20,000 in 2026 by 3 things that actually matter: reliability, real ownership cost, and resale value. Not opinions, not vibes, data. And the number 1 pick on this list? It's not what you'd expect. It's not a Honda, it's not a Toyota. And when you see the 5-year ownership math behind it, you're going to wonder why nobody talks about it. So, if 2 people can spend the exact same $20,000 and end up in completely different financial situations 3 years later, what is the one thing that separates them? Let's start with number 10, the Ford Edge. This is not a flashy pick. Nobody is posting about their Edge on social media. Nobody is putting a lift kit on one and calling it a lifestyle. But if your goal is to spend under $20,000 and drive something reliable for the next decade without flinching every time a warning light comes on, the Edge deserves your full attention. A 5-year-old Ford Edge, which puts you in the 2020 to 2021 model year range, can be found in the $15,000 to $19,000 window with reasonable mileage. And here is what the data shows when you look past the price tag. The average remaining useful lifespan on a 5-year-old Edge clears 120,000 miles. Put that in real terms. If you drive 12,000 miles a year, which is close to the national average, that is 10 more years of reliable transportation sitting in that purchase price. 10 years. For under $20,000. The powertrain is a turbocharged 4-cylinder that is efficient, well-documented, and cheap to fix when something does go wrong. Parts are everywhere because Ford moved enormous volumes of these. A mechanic in Dallas who works on domestic vehicles told a popular automotive forum, "The Edge is one of those cars where I almost feel bad charging for the labor. Everything is accessible. Everything is straightforward. It is not trying to be complicated." That is not a small thing. Labor hours are where repair bills become painful, and the Edge keeps those hours low. Fuel economy sits in the mid to high 20s on the highway. Not remarkable, but for a 2-row SUV that can genuinely haul people and cargo, it is responsible enough to live with. Now, the resale floor. This is where the Edge quietly wins. Because it has never been the most desirable nameplate in the Ford lineup, it already absorbed most of its depreciation hit before you even show up to buy it. You are not paying for hype. You are paying for the vehicle. And when it comes time to sell, the floor is stable because the edge was never artificially inflated to begin with. Compare that to a comparable crossover that spent 2 years on a wait list and sold 15% over sticker. That buyer is now watching their value evaporate. The edge buyer never had that problem. It is not number one on this list. But it earns its spot because the math is honest, the reliability is documented, and the ownership cost over 5 years makes it one of the most rational decisions you can make with a $20,000 budget. That is number 10, and the list is just getting started. Numbers 9 and 8 go together because they share the same secret. Both of these vehicles were discontinued. Production stopped. The manufacturer walked away. And the moment that happened, the used market treated them like damaged goods and dropped the price. That was a mistake. And it is your opportunity. Number 9 is the Toyota Avalon. Toyota killed the Avalon after the 2022 model year. Quietly. No big announcement. No farewell tour. They just stopped making it because the full-size sedan segment was shrinking and the bean counters made the call. But here is what did not stop. The reliability, the build quality, the legendary Toyota drivetrain that has been making owners look smart for 30 years. A 5-year-old Avalon puts you in the 2020 to 2021 range. Most come with a 3.5-liter V6 making around 300 horsepower, paired to a smooth 8-speed automatic. The interior is genuinely premium. Real materials, real space, a trunk big enough to embarrass most sedans in its class. And the ride is that specific Toyota blend of comfortable without feeling numb. But here's the part that changes the math entirely. The people who bought Avalons new were not impulse buyers. They were careful, deliberate, older buyers who treated their maintenance schedule like a legal obligation. One independent mechanic in Tennessee put it plainly on a repair forum. Every Avalon I see come in for a pre-purchase inspection looks like the owner kept a maintenance journal. These cars have been taken care of. That owner demographic is now selling into a market that has forgotten about the Avalon, which means well-maintained examples with documented service history are sitting at prices that do not reflect what they actually are. Remaining lifespan on a 5-year-old Avalon averages into the 170,000-mile range of useful life remaining. These cars routinely cross 250,000 miles without drama. At 12,000 miles a year, you are looking at 14 years of transportation sitting inside a purchase price that the market has artificially deflated because the model got discontinued. Number 8 is the Honda Ridgeline, and yes, truck purists are already closing the tab. Stay with me. The Ridgeline gets dismissed by body-on-frame loyalists who tow jet skis twice a year and call it work. But for someone who actually uses a truck every single day, commuting, hauling, living in it, the Ridgeline is one of the most underpriced vehicles in the entire used market right now. It shares its platform with the Honda Pilot and Odyssey. That means crossover comfort, proven Honda reliability, and a V6 engine with a documented history of crossing 200,000 miles on basic maintenance alone. A used buyer on a popular truck forum said it plainly. I bought my Ridgeline at 60,000 miles for $17,000. It now has 140,000 on it. I have spent less on repairs than I did on my last truck in the first year. The market keeps undervaluing it. Keep letting them. Number 7 and 6. This is where people start arguing about the Honda tax. You know what the Honda tax is? It is that frustrating moment when you search for a used CR-V or Accord, find one that looks perfect, and then notice the price is 15% higher than a comparable vehicle from a different brand. And you sit there wondering if the badge is really worth it. Here is the honest answer. At the right mileage and the right model year, Yes. The data makes the case better than any brand loyalty argument ever could. Number 7 is the Honda CR-V. A 2020 to 2021 CR-V in the $16,000 to $19,000 range is one of the most defensible purchases on this entire list. Not because it is exciting, because it is relentless. The 4-cylinder paired to a CVT sounds like a recipe for boredom, and mechanically, it is. That is the point. Boring powertrains do not generate surprise repair bills. They generate miles. Remaining useful. Lifespan on a 5-year-old CR-V clears 160,000 miles on average. Translate that into real life. At 12,000 miles a year, you are buying roughly 13 more years of transportation. The cabin fits adults comfortably in both rows. Cargo space is genuinely useful, and every single part of the interior feels designed by someone who actually has to live with it daily. A service manager at a Honda dealership in Arizona was quoted in a regional automotive publication saying, "The CR-V is the car I tell my own family to buy used. The repair frequency is low, the parts cost is reasonable, and I have never seen one come in for something catastrophic under 150,000 miles when it was maintained properly." That is not marketing. That is a person who sees the inside of broken cars every day, telling you what does not break. Number 6 is the Honda Accord, and this one is not a practical compromise. It is genuinely one of the best all-around cars ever built. A 2020 to 2021 Accord with the 1.5 turbo 4-cylinder can be found under $20,000. And what you get for that money is a car that drives better than its price has any right to suggest. Steering that actually communicates. A backseat roomy enough for real adults. A trunk that embarrasses most competitors. And lifespan numbers that regularly push deep into the 200,000-mile range without major intervention. The Honda tax is real, but on a 5-year-old CR-V or Accord, you are not paying for the badge, you are paying for the math, and the math pays you back every single year you own it. Before we get into the top 5, if you want the complete list of cars to avoid entirely in 2026, I put together a free ebook called Avoid These 17 Cars in 2026. Grab it free. Link is in the description. Numbers 5 and 4, the Unsexy tier, and the most underestimated one on this entire list. These are the cars that never trend. Nobody makes YouTube videos about them. Nobody puts them on a dream board. But the buyers who end up in them quietly win every single month for years. Number 5 is the Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Let's be direct. This is not a premium vehicle. The interior is mostly hard plastic. The driving experience is functional at best. The brand does not carry the cultural weight of Honda or Toyota. And Mitsubishi gets dismissed constantly in automotive conversations by people who have never actually looked at the ownership numbers. Here is what those numbers say. A 5-year-old Outlander Sport can be found for under $10,000 in today's market, sometimes well under, and the remaining useful lifespan on these averages over 100,000 miles. Run the math. You are potentially buying a decade of transportation for the price of a decent vacation. Repair costs are low because the mechanicals are simple. There is no cylinder deactivation system waiting to fail at 90,000 miles. No hybrid battery degradation conversation to have at year 7. No expensive turbocharged engine with timing chain patterns that show up right after the warranty expires. It is a straightforward, naturally aspirated powertrain that responds well to basic maintenance and does not punish owners for skipping the extended warranty. One owner on a Mitsubishi enthusiast forum wrote, "I bought my Outlander Sport for $8,000 at 52,000 miles. It now has 118,000 on it. Total repair spending outside of normal maintenance, $400. That is it. That is not an anomaly. That is the ownership pattern this vehicle produces repeatedly." Number 4 is the Buick Encore. and this one surprises people. Buick exists in that strange brand territory between mainstream and premium. Not quite a Chevy, not quite a Cadillac. Which means used Encores are priced like economy vehicles while delivering an ownership experience that feels meaningfully more refined. The interior is quieter than you expect. The materials are better than the price suggests. And it is small enough to park anywhere without negotiating with the steering wheel. 5-year-old Encores sit comfortably under $20,000, often well under. Remaining lifespan is strong. Insurance costs are lower than comparable premium alternatives, and parts availability is excellent because it shares its platform and components with high-volume GM vehicles. A used car buyer in Chicago posted on a financial independence forum, "The Encore was the most boring car decision I ever made. It was also the best one. I have spent almost nothing on it in 3 years." Boring, reliable, cheap to own. That combination does not make headlines. It makes financial sense. Here is where the list gets genuinely interesting. Number 3 is the Honda Insight. And the reason it is a deal right now comes down to one word: stigma. Most buyers hear hybrid and immediately start worrying about battery replacement costs. They picture a 5-figure repair bill showing up somewhere around 100,000 miles, and they walk away. That fear is keeping the price of used Honda Insights artificially low. And for buyers who actually do the research, that fear is a gift. Here is the reality. Honda discontinued the Insight in 2022. Not because it was unreliable, because it was not selling enough volume to justify the production line. The car itself never changed. The reliability never changed. What changed was the marketing budget. A 2020 Honda Insight can be found right now between $14,000 and $18,000. That is a hybrid sedan with fuel economy that regularly hits 50 miles per gallon in mixed driving. Run that number against the average American commute of 15,000 miles per year, and the fuel savings over 5 years lands somewhere between $3,500 and $5,000 compared to a standard 4-cylinder commuter. That is money that stays in your pocket every single year you own it. The battery concern is real, but overblown for this generation. Honda's hybrid system in the Insight has proven durable well past 150,000 miles in documented owner data. One mechanic who specializes in hybrids in the Seattle area wrote on his shop blog, "The Insight is the hybrid I recommend to people who are scared of hybrids. It just does not give you reasons to worry." Remaining lifespan numbers back that up completely. Number 2 is the Honda Fit. And the Fit makes this list for one reason that no spec sheet can fully capture. These cars refuse to die. A 2020 Honda Fit costs between $13,000 and $17,000 right now. It is small on the outside and genuinely surprising on the inside. Fold the rear seats and it swallows things that have no business fitting in a car this size. But the ownership story is what matters. Fits with 200,000 miles are common. Fits with 300,000 miles exist in numbers that should not be statistically possible. One owner on a Honda forum wrote, "I bought mine at 110,000 miles 4 years ago, just hit 218,000. Original engine. I am not selling it. Ever." That is number 3 and number 2. Number 1 is the Chevrolet Trax. Take a breath. Stay with this. Nobody is excited to buy a Chevrolet Trax. Nobody is posting about it online. Nobody is telling their friends they just picked one up. And that complete absence of enthusiasm is precisely why it sits at the top of this list. Here is the math that puts it here. A 2020 Chevrolet Trax can be found right now between $11,000 and $15,000. Remaining lifespan data on 5-year-old examples shows over 130,000 miles of useful life left on average. Annual repair costs run among the lowest of any compact SUV in its class. Parts are everywhere because General Motors built these by the millions. Any shop in any city in America can work on one without hesitation. Insurance is cheap, fuel economy is reasonable. And when you run the complete 5-year ownership calculation, combining purchase price, repairs, insurance, fuel, and resale value together into one honest number, the Trax beats every single car on this list. Not by a little, by a margin that is difficult to argue with. A financial writer who tracks long-term vehicle ownership costs put it this way: the Trax is the car that wins on paper and loses on ego. Most people choose ego. The ones who choose paper retire earlier. That is a harsh way to say it, but the data supports it completely. Now here is the honest caveat. The Trax is a tool. The interior is not inspiring. The driving experience is not engaging. It does not have the refinement of the Encore or the reliability reputation of the CR-V. What it has is a purchase price low enough and a cost of ownership stable enough that the financial outcome over 5 years is genuinely hard to beat under $20,000. The number one used car under $20,000 in 2026 is not the most exciting vehicle on this list. It is the most financially intelligent one. Those are not always the same thing, but when they point in the same direction, smart buyers pay attention. That is number one. So you have the list. Now let's talk about what to actually do with it. Because knowing the 10 best used cars under $20,000 means nothing if you walk onto a lot and make the same mistakes every unprepared buyer makes. The car is only half the decision. How you buy it is the other half. First number. Before you look at a single vehicle, know its market value from 3 independent sources. Pull the listing on Kelley Blue Book. Pull it on Edmunds. Then get a real cash offer from CarMax or Carvana online. Those 3 numbers will tell you immediately whether the asking price is honest or inflated. Most buyers skip this step entirely. Most buyers overpay as a direct result. Second number. Know the mileage sweet spot for the specific car you are buying. Not all miles are equal. A 2020 Honda Accord with 55,000 highway miles is a fundamentally different purchase than the same car with 55,000 city miles. For most vehicles on this list, the sweet spot sits between 40,000 and 75,000 miles. Enough to clear early manufacturing defects, not enough to be approaching major wear thresholds. Third number. Budget $150 for a pre-purchase inspection at an independent mechanic before you sign anything. Not the dealer's mechanic, an independent one. One buyer in a Reddit thread described skipping this step on a $14,000 purchase. 3 weeks later, he was looking at a $3,200 repair bill the seller knew about and never disclosed. $150 would have saved him everything. One mechanic in Chicago who has performed hundreds of pre-purchase inspections said it plainly. In 15 years, I have never once had a buyer regret getting the inspection. I have had hundreds regret skipping it. The window on several of these vehicles is also tightening. The Honda Fit and Honda Insight are discontinued. Supply is finite and shrinking. Prices on clean, low-mileage examples are already beginning to move upward in wholesale data. If one of these cars is right for your situation, the best time to move is not next month. It is now. Here is the truth that the used car market does not want you to walk in knowing. Every single lot you will ever step onto is designed to make you feel like the decision is urgent, emotional, and complicated. The salesperson is trained to move you toward what they need to sell. The finance office is built to extract money from buyers who do not know their numbers. And the sticker price is engineered to make whatever discount they offer feel like a victory, even when you are still overpaying. The 10 cars on this list exist outside that game. Not because they are perfect, not because they will never need a repair, but because the data behind them is clear, consistent, and honest in a way that most car buying decisions never are. You know what they cost to buy. You know what they cost to own. You know what they will be worth when you are ready to move on. That kind of clarity is worth more than any feature, any badge, or any monthly payment that sounds manageable until it isn't. Carlos is still driving his CR-V. Dana is still paying for a decision she made in an afternoon without the right information. The difference between those two outcomes was not budget. It was not luck. It was knowing what the data actually said before signing anything. That is the only thing that separates buyers who win from buyers who overpay. Not income, not negotiating talent, information. And if you want to go one step further before you ever set foot on a lot, I put together a free ebook called Avoid These 17 Cars in 2026. It is the other side of this list. The vehicles with reliability patterns, ownership costs, and resale trajectories that should make any informed buyer walk away fast. It is free. The link is in the description. Read it before you buy anything. The used car market in 2026 is full of genuinely great deals. It is also full of expensive mistakes dressed up as bargains. Now you know the difference.